and I don't know, you know who I'm talking about.
Yep, I know you're talking about.
All I have to say is if you watch this, Jim Puckey, you are one of the best men I've ever met in my life. Hands down. I will never, ever in my life forget you. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
And welcome to the Schmucks Club podcast. I'm Newbooger.
I'm Morbid.
And we're here to devour your soul. Or talk about shit. That's what we're here to do. Anyways.
Hey. All right.
So, how was your Thanksgiving? Huh?
My Thanksgiving was very eventful.
Good.
My personal life had a very positive swing to it, and
That's good.
it's amazing on a related note that positivity in one sector of your life will bleed through, just like negativity will, both emotions. But as soon as you get that spark in one side of your, or one aspect of your life, it just starts to push through everything else.
Yeah, helps it go up. Yeah.
Along
Or
with it
down.
came a new job. Exactly, yeah. Because once one thing starts to go wrong, if the next thing isn't quite as bad, it just feels like it goes wrong even worse, and then downhill.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's good.
That's it. I had a good Thanksgiving. What'd you do on yours, brother?
We stayed home. This year we didn't do Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving. We kind of waited until we got my niece. For those of you who don't know, for a long time I took care of my niece. She now comes over every other weekend. We kind of just waited until we could take her on the weekend to do Thanksgiving, so that's what we did. So had my niece over, ate some food, went over to a friend's house. That's pretty much how my Thanksgiving we decided a while ago that we got sick of driving all over the place. So because we got sick of driving all over the place, we just said, let's just do Thanksgiving at home. And that's what we do every year. And it's not this big spectacle. It's just us hanging out.
Top 3 sides you make every year. Top 3 sides have to be made. What every year? What are they?
My wife usually the sides themselves.
Sides, yeah, not the main meal.
Squash, caramelized sweet potatoes, which actually was my first time trying them this year. I do not like sweet potatoes.
Yeah, neither do I.
Tried my wife's caramelized sweet potatoes, like brown sugar, marshmallow, and whatever else she puts in it. It was fucking amazing. It was one of the best things I've ever had. And usually like stuffing.
And stuffing. Now your stuffing is it homemade?
No, fuck no.
No, it's a box. Is it stovetop?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Stovetop.
Yeah.
So I have a stuffing challenge for you.
Oh god.
And I will make my stuffing because I eat my Thanksgiving meal, well, basically multiple times a year whenever I want, because it's my favorite meal. You know, I am the most plain Jane person. You're talking potatoes, corn, stuffing, bread, turkey. That's what, including the turkey, always, you know what I mean? So very plain Jane. But my stuffing was my great grandmother's, and it's based on crackers, like premium crackers, premium saltine crackers, with just chicken broth and butter and a specific amount of seasonings. And then you bake this, and it comes out, and it's one of those stick to your ribs, deliciously seasoned stuffing. So when I do make it, because it takes an entire box of crackers, I have to mix it in a big lobster pot.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm talking, you're mixing this. It's the farm. My great grandparents are brought up on the farm. That's what it was. So they're making
enough for everybody.
Yeah,
the whole
cheapest
thing.
Stuffing you can make, and a whole shit ton of it. So basically, almost shy of crackers, water, and a stove. But and the combination that goes together, it is my favorite meal. You put some gravy over it, and
Yeah, man, we all have our favorite thing. I mean, my grandmother, what do I used to have? My grandmother used to make homemade stuffing, you know, with like the breadcrumbs, and she put a little bit of everything in it. It was, some vegetable seasoning, water, probably chicken broth, and mixed it all up and shoved it in the ass of the turkey. So.
Okay, it does an inner stuffing.
Oh yeah,
I personally have never made a stuffing inside of a turkey. I've never done it. And
that's why it's called stuffing.
I know why it's called that. Well, that was weird because my family always did both.
Yeah.
Because one of them has a little bit more of the grease from the turkey and one doesn't. And I don't know. I can't wait for my kids' taste to change and then him start to eat everything that I make. You know. Because that's going to be a good day.
I mean, I think we all have our little tropes and everything with Thanksgiving. We used to have, used to go over to my aunt's, and she would do this whole shebang. And then, like, this is why I'm saying, like, we decided one year that we were just like, we're not going to anybody's house. We're staying home. My wife likes to cook anyways. Right. So she was just like, you know, if people want to come over, they can come over type thing. And that's how it turned out, because we used to go to her parents' house, to my aunt's house, to my mother's house. And it was just like, it's too much. It's too much. We're just tired of traveling.
Yeah.
When you're eating all day long, it's like, what the fuck? Like,
you're just like, how much is tryptophan's gonna kick in, and I'm gonna run into a telephone pole.
And then when the pandemic started, my aunt stopped doing her thing, and we're like, that's fine with us, to be honest with you. You know?
Yep.
That's the way Christmas is too. It's like, it's nice to get the day off, but you really don't get the day off because you're going everywhere. So what the hell's the point?
Yep. Yeah, I grew up one way, and now that I'm grown up, it's the exact opposite. I have a very small holiday gathering now, so we can kind of move it around, make it fit our schedule more than making us fit its schedule. Yeah. But when I was a kid, before my grandmother died, she was the holiday linchpin. Every family has one of those, that if that linchpin happens to pass away, everybody goes and does their other thing. But back then, you're talking, we had 12 to 15 people at Thanksgiving and Christmas, you know, and sometimes on Easter we put it all together, you know. But and there was always the fight over whose house it was at. It's you know, and then as you get older, for some reason it got worse and worse, because you'd think it'd be easy as adults to be like, okay, last year we did Thanksgiving there and Christmas here. We only had two places, you know, because most of our family lived in one of these two houses close to each other, and one person lived over here. It's easy. You'd think it would be, okay, last year I did Thanksgiving, you had Christmas. This year, okay, you take Thanksgiving and I'll do Christmas. You would think it would be that easy. But people just like, it's a drive and we have more people. And it's like, no. It's supposed to be the sacrifice back and forth. It's not supposed to be that hard, and I don't understand.
I hate that excuse. Right? I've always hated the excuse of, you know, we have more kids than you do type thing. It's like, I mean, that was your choice, dude. I mean, that's sorry.
Traveling there is still just as annoying whether we have kids or not. It's still annoying going all the way over there.
I mean, like, you know? If it was down the street, you know, it's like, who cares then? No, then I would be like, yeah, you're more than welcome to have it, because you can do the fucking dishes and I don't have to. But when it comes to, like, it's an hour travel or 45 minutes.
Plastic forks.
I mean, but you still have the pan you cook the turkey in. You boil with bowl, you know, not bowls.
Dude, rotisserie, man, rotisserie. That thing's still a bitch to clean afterward.
that's a wicked bitch to clean afterward. Oh, my wife does.
I'll tell you what, up to a 14-pounder.
Yeah. I can't remember how big ours was. Ours was a small turkey.
Yep.
when my wife started cooking the turkey, I mean, we used to have it most of the time it'd either be trash can or it'd be deep fried, right?
Yeah.
And then my wife was like, well, why don't we just do our own thing? And then so she does her turkey and she injects it with butter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then throughout, you know, when you take it out every hour, and then you inject it again with the broth that's at the bottom of the roast pan.
Yeah, like internal based.
Oh my fucking god, dude! It's so
It came out good, huh?
every year it does, dude. I'm just like, dude, the turkey's and
big roast pan.
Yep.
Big old roast pan.
Yep.
Yeah.
A roast pan rusted this year, so we bought one of the tinfoil ones, and it fit perfectly inside of it. So
you used it as a base?
yeah. I'm like, this is amazing.
That is really cool.
That's my wife's engineering right there. Just go buy one of those tinfoil pans and yeah.
Anybody in your family of the gizzards, the neck and gizzard eater?
Not that I know of. I mean, my grandmother used to love liver and onions and kidneys of something or whatever, and the tongue of something else. But never. I don't think she ever ate the gizzard though.
None of the gizzard. Yeah, my mom takes the neck for some reason, and it's pretty gross. Like I wish they would just stop doing that. Just leave it out.
Like Mandy will put it in there to cook the turkey, and then once the turkey's done, we just take it out.
Right, just use it for flavor to leave moisture and stuff inside. Yeah.
But you know,
I can see that. But yeah, man, like my mom used to like boil it all down, and they would eat it during the fucking meal, and I'm like, I almost don't want to eat this. But I'll tell you, I tried to never. Well, no, you should definitely try to fake kids out. But I tried fake potatoes because I have a way of making potatoes. If you add more water than it asks for, it makes them a little more loose bound. It's not so it doesn't taste quite like, you know, fake potatoes. It's fake potatoes. You can't get around it. There's no way to get around it. But if you make them a little more runny or loosey. So I did that, and my kid's eating everything. My kid eats green beans and whatnot, and he gets it, and he takes a mouthful, and he's like, no, it tastes pretty good. And he's like, it tastes a little bit like funny potatoes. Tastes a little bit like funny potatoes.
That's awesome.
Yes, that's it. But
that's
when you're
awesome.
poor, you know, I've lived through all kinds of stuff. I've had the meal. I've made myself the meals every week for years, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy some instant potatoes and make some chicken fingers.
Yeah, I mean, we were broke this Thanksgiving too, but I was also like, it's only us. It's not like we need all this shit. You know, buy some of this and buy some of that and maybe some of that and be done with it. It's like
exactly makes it easy.
My wife made pecan pie for the first time. It was all right.
I wish I could battle you and say, don't you mean pecan pie? But I can't because it's pecan pie. He just looks, it's not a pecan.
There's no such thing as a pecan. It's
not a pecan.
Pie.
Well, I will look it up in my leisure time.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking slap you. I know where you live.
Are you enjoying your pop there?
Dude, are you from the South or something? So, last time we discussed this, you were from Maine.
Morbid uses every word to piss Booger off.
God, dude. Pecan. Would you like a pecan?
Yes, I like my pecan in my leisure time.
Yes, indubitably.
Oh man.
Have you ever seen Family Guy, where the dude he pulls up and it's the insult drive-by?
Oh, Reginald, I disagree.
Anyways,
new comedy you need to see.
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of them.
Shane Gillis.
I've never heard of him.
Exactly. Yeah, I never heard of him until this, and I'll tell you, he takes the popular media stand of being, I would say, a moderate left who's tired of the left. You see what I'm saying, right? Like, and that's kind of where he stands, because he makes fun of liberals, the normal liberals. He makes fun of both alt sides, because that's easy to do, and then he makes fun of Republicans, the same, the conservatives. He makes fun of them evenly, but you can tell he takes it where he's in the safe zone where he gets away with whatever he's saying, which is cool. But to give you a little synopsis of why you should look at it, this is the way he thinks, and you'll get what I'm saying. Is they're saying right now, this country's never been so divided. We've got this and this going on. People have never been divided. And he goes, and I think he's got his beer or something, so he gets a nice pause delivery. And he's like, we had a civil war, right? And he goes, I'd say that was pretty divided. And he goes, but nowadays we have the media, right? Yes. And it gets spread all through. He goes, back then they only got the news once a month. So there's that dude, he's just working on his farm, and some guy comes by and he's like, hey man, did you hear? And he's like, who's talking shit? He's like, the South. He's like, oh. He's like, well, I'm gonna march down there for a month to go do something about it. So what does he do? He marches for a month. And he runs into the first person in the South. What's he gonna do? He's just gonna shoot him and go home. Well, this keeps happening. Eventually, you're gonna start a war. And he goes, so yeah. He's like, communication's an amazing thing. Cheers.
Just gonna march down. I mean, it takes you a month to get there. The entire time you're bitching and complaining at what that motherfucker said.
Oh, exactly. Fucking somebody talking shit, and you're traipsing around there. I gotta go down here. Yeah. I gotta march all the way through him. And he's like, well, man. And he's like, okay, where? I see a guy. I'm going home.
I'm gonna stop by the farmer's market on my way home.
All right, I'm gonna pick up some chickens for Ma.
It's about 4 weeks out, but that's fine.
Good thing came down here in December. I can just pack it in snow and drive. Here we go.
We got our first real snow this morning.
I saw that. I was awake long enough just to kind of get a little glimpsey doodle of it, because I have acquired a new job in which I was happier to accept. But let's talk about snow first.
All right. Well, we had snow. I don't know if anybody who's watching this has ever seen it. It's white stuff that falls from the sky. And then it builds up. And then when it builds up, it gets really slippery and sucks to drive in.
And people forget every single year
how to drive in it. It amazes me every single fucking time. There's times where you're like, why are you going so slow? And then there's times where you're like, why are you driving so damn fast right now?
Yeah. And it's funny. I just saw this meme that said, hey, if you see kids playing in a parking lot full of snow, let them be. Because in all honesty, when I was growing up, we used to e-brake our way through like the mall parking lots and all that shit. Mm-hmm. For one, we never, ever damaged any property except for our own. We'd hit curbs. And by the way, when you slide a car into a curb, there's only one side of that equation that gets damaged, and it is not the curb. It's one of a multitude of parts on your car that could get messed up. But yeah, how they would have the dividers, for the lanes where you would park. Yep. You could go down one of them, and you'd have a front-wheel drive car. We had an '89 Grand Am back in the day. It was a little two-door car, and you'd come down. We weren't going fast. You go with 10 miles an hour. You turn a little sideways, and you pull the e-brake, and the car immediately starts to slide. Mm-hmm. But what you do immediately after that is you take control of the car and you control the slide. And I'll tell you what, none of my friends that ever did that and messed off in the parking lots like that, none of us ever had an accident that involved us losing control of the vehicle, ever.
I can't say that for me because I've slid off the road twice. No,
are you
twice.
A driver?
Not really.
I'm just giving you shit.
It's so. We have a really sharp turn on our road. I was going a little too fast.
You were trying to drift king. You were trying to Tokyo Drift Fast and Furious 3. He's like, you know what DK stands for? He's like, I don't know, Donkey Kong.
Doesn't work very well when you're in 4-wheel drive. Let me tell you, you just keep going.
Yeah.
You don't do this. You go. And then twice is on ice, like slick ice. So there's a road just up the road from ours, and their driveway washes down. So when it starts to melt, it washes down into the road, and then you just get a little bit of snow on that. There's nothing you can do. I mean,
for a ride.
And then it was just a little too slick that day, and I hit a snowbank. Didn't do anything. I just tapped the snowbank, backed up, and left.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. And then another time was the railroad tracks on College Street, right where it goes to 202, connects to 202 there, by the gas station.
Down by Black Tie? Black Tie Cannabis?
Yeah, yes, yeah, right there.
Yeah.
You know,
right,
where
okay. The train tracks are up high.
Yeah, they're back a little ways, and you come down the hill.
Right you come down Sawyer. Yeah, you come down Sawyer. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, I hit those train tracks, and there was ice on the other side of it, and there were nothing I could do. I was like, oh, this is fun. I know nothing I could do. This is just ice.
Where'd you end up?
Just in the bank.
Oh, no shit. Like across the intersection? Because you have the turns right there, right?
It's no. It's right before the turns. The railroad tracks right before the turns. It kind of bends just a little bit.
You're going in, and
I hit the ice, and
you went right there. Okay, yeah, back before the blinking light.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, whoops. All right, and just backed up and left.
Minimum 5 or 6 times I've seen deer on there just this summer. That little spot right there is terrible. It's weird.
Yeah, it sucks.
You get used to them, though. You get used to driving around and where they all culminate. You're like, okay, I'm gonna slow down through here because these bastards are always over here.
It's always ice that fucks me up, man. I can drive in the snow all day long. It's always the ice that screws me up.
Ice is definitely tough. What do you drive for a vehicle?
Oh, I got a Ford Escape now. So.
Okay.
I was driving a Chevy Blazer then.
Oh yeah.
And then I was a Malibu. The time that I was coming down the hill and the wash off of that dude's driveway, that was in a Chevy Malibu. Front wheel drive. Yeah.
I look back and it was funny. I started getting away with things when I was a kid, and not even intentionally doing it. I was never malevolent when I came to it. It was just like I would have a conversation, and my mom would tend to give in fairly easy. But if she put up a fight, I wouldn't do anything. That's why I don't know why she put up more of a fight, because I just not have anything. But anyway, she gave me 3 requirements for my first vehicle. She said it had to be like $3,000 front wheel drive automatic. I ended up picking up a 1993 Chevy S10 rear wheel drive 5-speed with the 4.3 Vortec.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. For about twice the amount of money she was planning on spending. But thanks to my uncle, because it was a good truck. I hit a Moose with an S10, and I continued to drive it for over a year.
Hey man, like a rock, right?
It was, dude. That was back early 90s. Those things were just built. When I was in high school, maybe you too, because you grew up around here, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, so when I was in high school, if you wanted to be the man, if you wanted to be the person everybody looked at, you had yourself a mid to late 80s Chevy 1500 truck. It was lifted up on probably like 32s or 33s, and you had some fucking some cherry bombs or something that just rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat right out the back of that thing. And the bigger your truck was, the shinier your truck was, the more the women liked you. That's what my high school was like.
Yeah, I didn't get my license until I was like 25.
Why?
Scared? Yeah, dude, I used to get wicked anxiety driving. Like, wicked. Like, I'd start hyperventilating, like, anxiety driving.
No shit.
I did not like it. And I just kind of got used to it. It was like, well, I got to work. So I live out in Leeds. I got to work. I have no choice at this point. So I got my license. The first time I went to go get it, it was an old cranky dude. The old cranky dude. Everybody gets him the first time for whatever fucking reason. And he failed me, of course. And then the second time I got this probably my age now dude who was just like, hey, what's up, man? We're gonna go take a drive or what? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, all right. And he's like, you got 3 chances to parallel park. It's like, okay. And I parallel parked the first time. He's like, all right, the rest of it's just go drive. Literally, we just talked about the Patriots, and he didn't even like make me do anything else. He just like
seeing how you existed in public.
Take me around. I was like, all right, whatever, dude. And drove him around and everything, and parked the car. He's like, you're good, you're solid. It really was just that dude who was just sitting there shooting shit with you. It literally was.
He was watching what you're doing. Like he'd know, and that you know immediately when you're riding with somebody, even if they have their license, if they're a safe driver or not. Because half the people that have their license should not have their license.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly what you said. He was just trying to make sure that I could just drive the car.
You're paying attention. You weren't doing anything stupid.
Yep.
I actually had to take mine 3 times. The first time I failed, he said, I still know the stop sign that he said I did roll through it, but I went back with my mom so I could look, and there is a tree covering the entire stop sign because it's on a one-way street, so it's on the left-hand side. So when he told me to take a left, I was on a one-way, so I just turned left because the stop sign was here and there was a tree. So that was not my fault. Second time, the guy told me I cut somebody off when I pulled out into the lane, and I pulled into the lane, and I look at my rear view, and then I see him go from one lane behind me, and just as he gets behind me, the guy goes like this and looks in the mirror, and he's like, "Oh, you cut that person off." And I was like, a little bitchy when I was on this time because I was like, I'm like, he just turned it, and then he's like, all right. Third time, there was that guy. And he's like, well, you know, you already failed once with me. You could request a new one. And I was like, nah, let's go. I just get in. I was polite, and I drove around. Did they do a hill stop with you? Do you ever remember having to do that?
Well, no, I didn't have. I had to do it with the first guy. I didn't have to do it with the second guy.
So yeah, you remember the hill stop though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was one that everybody freaked out about. I don't think they have to do that anymore.
Why do people freak out on hill stops?
I don't know. And to tell you the truth, I would rather do a hill stop in a standard than
is that why people?
Yeah, the standard is so. The other problem is that it was an antiquated. It was starting to become antiquated when I was doing it because the transmissions that they were working on. The problem is when you started doing driving tests way back, you didn't have, for one, you had standards, so that's why you had a hill test, because you can roll back a fucking ways and a half if you don't know what you're doing on a hill stop. But then as the automatics started to get better, even some automatics would do it. You would roll backwards before you took off.
do. And it doesn't matter when automatic you drive. I mean,
right.
Coming up the hill over here, I always roll back, but I mean, you just put your foot on the brake. And then as you're pushing on the gas, you release your brake and you go forward.
Right, exactly. And the only difference between that was you had to stop. You had to put the emergency brake on, let off of everything, and then put your foot on the gas and slowly let off the emergency brake and take off. Yeah, but then even the new cars now have hill assist. So it'll hold you in place until you know, anything past, like, if I had to guess, probably 2017, 18, they have hill assist. So if you come up like this, you stop your car, you let off the brake, it's gonna hold the brake until you touch the gas, and then it'll take off straight up the hill. It's becoming.
I'm not everything like they have ABS brakes, which are more dangerous than just not having ABS brakes. Like that. So the ice stories I was telling you about, it was because of ABS brakes.
ABS was clicking like a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Like,
and that's basically telling you you're gonna hit something.
That's all that's telling you.
All you hear is.
let me offer some advice to those drivers out there. Do not ever, because of ABS brakes, do not ever push the brake. Push the pedal. You're more likely to get traction if you push the pedal. Yeah, and then you can correct yourself.
Yep.
But as soon as you push that brake,
you get nothing. It takes all of your control out of your brake.
I hate ABS. Fords are not as bad as Chevys, though. I have noticed that since I've gotten a Ford.
Yeah, my Explorer has one. I have an 06.
So in the Ford, your pedal doesn't rattle. Your pedal doesn't do the vibration.
Shake and do
it just does it itself. Like, and I don't even know if it really does or not, to be honest. It has to, because everything has to have ABS. But it doesn't.
Yeah, there's no shaking to your.
You just kind of know it's happening, I guess is the best way to put it. I hate Chevys. Chevy's ABS is it's the worst thing. Okay. Your pedal just starts doing this, and you're like, why is my foot getting a massage? What is going on, dude? Like,
I was not prepared for this.
And then it just, like, when you start having problems with ABS, like, if you've ever had a 99 Chevy Blazer and you start having problems with your ABS, it would do it on dry fucking tar. Like, my ABS would kick in all of a sudden. I was like, oh. And then when I hit my daycare provider's truck, I was like, yeah, it's time to get a new car.
Jeez.
Yeah, like
I couldn't stop, honestly.
I couldn't. I fucking couldn't. I was like, hey, Emmy, I'm just glad that there was no kids around. That's all.
Right, exactly.
And like, I didn't even do any damage to her car. She smashed the shit out of mine. She had the attachment for the ball hitch, and I smashed into that, lifted up her ass end, and it pushed it forward, and she just fucked up my front end. I was like,
yeah, that's like a Spartan shield when you run into that, dude.
Yeah, you ain't even kidding.
It just holds, man.
There ain't no give to that bitch. So yeah, that was.
Speaking of vehicles, what's your dream vehicle? If you could have anything right now, even if it's living area aside, like you can drive anything you want in Maine, whatever.
Any vehicle at all.
Yeah.
Probably any of the 70s Mustangs.
Okay, you go back to the muscle.
Oh yeah.
You go fucking heavy ass, muscle ass cars.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
If I was to go into anything newer, I would go with a 350Z.
350Z?
Yeah.
Have you delved into the 370 to see any of the differences?
I have not. I have never driven a 350.
I've driven two 350s in my life. One was a guy that worked at Lee. We washed his car for him, and then another one was a brand new one that had just come into Nissan. But I will tell you what, I fell in love with it. It's odd you say that. I've been in love with that car since it came out, and then Tokyo Drift hit, and good lord. You know who's my favorite 350 in Tokyo Drift is the second in command, the yellow one. Mm-hmm. I'm a black and white person, but I delved into it and I looked at all the pictures and tried to find all the background, like the body kits and then it was running, and his paint job. So he has the tribal in like the gold yellow down the side, but the base color that's behind the tribal is a fade of a yellow to like a green. So they faded the car first beautifully, and then they painted, or one way or the other, but it's two different paint jobs, and I was like, what? Mm-hmm. But it feels like you're dragging your ass, but it's cool. The reason I say 370 is because I prefer the 350 over the 370.
Yeah,
I like the body lines better on the 350. It has a little more square to it, but there's also shift assist, and if you don't shut it off, everybody thinks you're trying to race them. Because you got it in third gear and you're coming up to a stoplight and you're like, oh, okay, you push the clutch in. Well, it's gonna rev your motor to match your flywheel, like clutch assembly, all that.
Yeah.
So you push it in, and instead of it going whoa, it's like you push it in, it goes boom, boom. And you're like, no. I go down in gears. And one of my friends, he was saying that's what he goes. You just try to tell people you're not trying to race. He's got the top down, and it's a growl. It doesn't matter if you add an exhaust or not. It's got the growl coming out of it, and that's what he said. He goes, with the downshift. And there's a kid next to me in some Beamer or something, and my car's like coming to a stop, and he's like, but
yeah, I mean, I like the 350Z. If I was gonna go with a newer style car, that's what I'd go with.
Are you a car guy though?
Not really. I mean, I like cars. I like the way they look.
You see the cars, you can identify them, and you identify ones you like the looks of.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, I'm not a grease monkey or anything. I don't get underneath the cars and I'm like, oh, look at that. I got that V8 with the 450 horsepower. No, I'm good.
Speaking of that, my dream car would be the 1967. I'm just
yeah, exactly. Well, I'll go with the 1967 GTO. The one with that other engine in it, that other style.
And then you start the guys that will start mentioning the tiny differences from one model engine to the next. They're like, oh no, in like 67 when they moved it over to this one over here, they took the carburetor and they added the millimeter on. You're like.
And the first two models were really crappy, but once they got the design going, that's the perfect gear. That's the perfect one.
This right here should be sign language for I don't care.
Yeah. Or this. I mean, this is good sign language for it.
Yeah. Dude, okay, here we go. Here's a topic for you.
Oh boy.
The correlation of people, mostly the stereotypical people, but also it's a stereotype because it was proven, the correlation of people that work in a call center to the lack of social skills.
You mean
basic social skills. Picking up on when a conversation is over. Having a normal conversation where multiple people talk. The normal social things. When you get into the tech industry and technical help, do you find, because this is my thing, I have found it, they are multitudes, no, that's not the right word. They are many times more socially awkward than your normal group. And it's like I said, it's a stereotype, but it comes with working with computers and not people. But I'm a computer nerd of computer nerds, bro, and I am socialized more than the quarterback of our high school.
Yeah, so being that I used to work at a call center, the people that I have met there were some of the most awkward people I've ever talked to in my life. They would be now imagine you're trying to sit with someone and trying to train them.
Where I was going. Yeah, when you listen along with people.
You're sitting there and you're like, okay, yep, no, go ahead. And they're like, thank you for calling, blah, blah. My name's blah. What can I do for you? Oh, yeah, hi, my name is blah, 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 blah. Yeah, what can I do for you? It's like, and they're just the deadpan. And then the awkward silence where you hear click, 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 click. And you look over and you're like, so ask them how the weather is where they are. Try talking to them. And they go, so how's the weather? Rainy? Right. Drowning? Do you feel like you want to kill yourself? Because I know I do. Like, what the? Yeah. Now, me.
My favorite was the end of the call.
Yeah.
Where they're like, okay, thanks. They're like, thank you. And you sit there going,
say goodbye. Do something.
That is the epitome of 1 second is a lifetime. You just sit there and you're like, who taught you that have you never made a phone call in your life?
Oh my
they're just
god!
like, yeah, well, that thing, the person on the other side is like, goes, well, seems like everything's all set. And that inflection, the words, everything is this. You couldn't hit them with a stop sign to make it any more clear. You can, and I would be perfectly fine with, okay, bye. I seriously would be okay with that, and that's sad that is the bar that you have to hit. And there were 30% of people would fail that. It's astonishing.
No, I guess I just come from a different background. It's like I'm a tech guy, and so did you ever get to work with Vinny?
I did. I worked for Vinny directly.
Yeah. So
Vinny hired me. Hired me.
The first person that I did, so I did the mock phone calls.
Yeah.
And totally screwed it up somehow. I was like, oh, I thought you were just using an expired account because, so like I had to look to see what the problem was. The account was, or the subscription was like expired. No, it was an expired subscription. And he's like, oh yeah, it's an expired subscription. I was like, oh, dude, I mean, I thought you were using an expired subscription because you just couldn't renew it or whatever, it's like that. I didn't think it was part of the training. He's like, yeah, you're gonna have to, you might want to do this and do this, and then we'll try again tomorrow, right? I was like, okay. And I was like, whatever. So I had to go back in and do research or whatever. I didn't do anything. The next day, Vinny comes in and he's like, yeah, so I'm gonna take you, John. I was like, all right. He's like, you want to do mock phone calls? He's like, yeah, let's just get right into it or whatever. So we sit down, puts his headset on, starts doing his own thing. I take my first phone call, and then after the first phone call's done, he's like, yep, you're good. Puts his headset down, takes it, and he's like, have fun, and he just walks off. Like, he was just like, yeah, dude, this dude's good. It just walks off. Like, I don't even know why I'm here right now.
Yep.
And that was my experience with Vinny. That every single time I've talked to him, he was always cool to me. So
yep.
But it was just funny. It's like these other trainers were like so looking into it, like you don't know what you're talking about. And Vinny's like, yeah, you're good, dude. Have fun.
You're good. Good to go.
And I just walked away.
That was one of my probably one of my top 5 most I wouldn't say most fun, I don't know how to put it, but entertaining. I enjoyed that, doing quality assurance and helping out clearing agents and stuff, because I mean, you got to see some all-stars and you got to see some rocks, not rock stars, just rocks. Unless you were doing QA and you just, so if you ever work in a call center and you become a QA specialist, don't rag on people so hard. Don't look for things to mark them down for. There's like a grading system and you have to check the boxes and everything. Don't nitpick. It's so stupid. It doesn't help. Okay. If someone really screws something up, they screw it up. Okay. But if you're literally searching for things, you're not a good QA specialist. Okay. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You're just a dick. That's what you are. Anyways. I just had a flashback of when you were a team manager and we were in the QA meetings and nobody would say anything about it. And now you're just like, I have a QA agent sitting right across from me.
I will do it.
Give him a piece of my mind.
I was a dick. When they QA'd...
You realize that we got in a lot of trouble if they QA'd something and we didn't nitpick it. Like, so we had to follow everything and we talked about everything for days when you, like, because that was all our job. Obviously, think about that. That was our entire job. So what would happen is we would hear one of those, and I'm not defending it because there's a lot of people that would be like, well, he said this, and people don't get like intentions and stuff like that. And people are trying to follow the rubric by the letter. And this is where we would get into arguments. But you remember the room we were in, right on the other side when you guys were in T3, and somebody would turn around and be like, I need a, what do you call it when a whole bunch of people talk together? Not water cooler, but like brainstorm.
Yep. Yep.
Something like that, you know, because it was one of those things where they did something and it was on the line, but there was like a word or two that was this way or that way, and it would take us an hour to be like, this is this way. And if you think about how many people are involved and then multiply it by an hour and how much you're paying all these people for their hours, you're not paying these people cheap money for their hours.
Worthless.
You're spending hundreds of dollars. And there were a lot of things they were nitpicking, but the problem was it was something that was needed. It was a metric that needed to be on paper. You couldn't get away from it, and it had to be focused on. And actually, the process of quality assurance is what got me fired from Carbonite.
I'm not surprised. That's what got a lot of people fired from Carbonite.
I got fired because I rolled my eyes and I didn't agree with a process, because it put a lot more time on us,
or
and
a person.
It didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It didn't do anything. There was no outcome. The return on investment was not there. It was like it took us an extra half an hour, or let's just say it took us an extra 10 minutes per QA over the course of a month. And those hours weren't being given back to us. They're like, no, you guys are blowing away your goals. So their answer to that was to add more work without compensating.
Yep.
And so I'm like, all right, whatever, roll my eyes, went back to work, and then I got fired.
Yeah, that sounds. I mean, I know what happened to a lot of people at Carbonite. And some of the BS, some of them weren't BS reasons, but in the QA department, it was BS reasons usually.
There's a lot of politics, and I mean, people are under pressure too, and that's what I've grown to.
It wasn't even politics; it's who they had fucking running it. Dude.
If you look at it, if you look at who you had running it and who got picked and where people went, that is business politics, not politics like.
Yeah, I'm sure. I understand what the hell you're saying. I deal with politics every day, but it's who you had running it. I mean, there were times I still to this day don't understand how I have not been fired from Carbonite. Probably because I got some of the best customer, we'll say, feedbacks. And the fact that when I was a tier 3, I took these people who were extremely upset with Carbonite and made them love Carbonite again. Like that was literally my job.
You became a golden child. Yeah.
Oh my God, people loved me because of that. They could be like, John, I need you to make sure this dude right here loves Carbonite again. And I'm like, done. Yeah. Done. Well, consider him sold.
And that's where you succeed in business, though. You succeed in business by making yourself inexpensive.
They left me where I was and didn't want me to move up. Like,
because it'd be and that's
because of what I did. They knew that no one else could do what I did, and now they have. They might have a certain person that was doing my job that I don't think is as successful at my job as I was. But anyways, that
true.
Neither here nor there. Nothing wrong with the person. I like the person. I think he's a good guy. So, but
that's the thing is, like, I've learned over the past little while here is I don't know qualms over anybody, because everybody has a decision. Everybody had something going on in their life when that decision was made, and I've made plenly of. Whether they were bad then or now or good or whatnot, I've definitely made decisions. I just
think that's like, I don't want to insult him, right? But I think the person that started doing my job after I left wasn't good for the job. He's good at other things. I just don't think that was his job.
It might not be the fit. Yeah.
Right. I don't think he has.
Like my job that I'm moving into, a lot of people will be like, I could do that. It's a lot of repetition. It's working in marketing and stuff. And I'm going to be doing a lot of the same thing over and over again. But I excel at repetition. I find not necessarily shortcuts, but I find more efficiency for myself.
Yeah.
It's one of those jobs that I challenge myself is making sure that I'm on 100% accuracy. But how can I do this more efficiently for the company,
Yeah.
And whatever kind of shortcuts, if it's, notepads or what it is. Yeah.
So I always had... Anyway, all I'm saying is I was good at my job. I was good at what I did, and I know why they didn't want to move me, because they knew I was good at what I did. It's like, and it's not like, I mean, every time raises came up, I always got good raises. My raises were always good.
They kept you happy where you were, which is good. But at the same time, I mean, they shouldn't pigeonhole you. You know, a good manager will never hold you back, and it's not like your manager held you back, but the managers of managers can hold people back.
Yeah, my manager was trying to get me. Dude, I had two of the best. All my managers when I was a tier 3 were great fucking managers. Okay. I had one of the best managers I have ever had in my life as a tier 3. And that man made me who I am because I understood how to run a team. Yeah. Because of him. And that's why I'm successful as a boss now. And I don't know, you know who I'm talking about.
Yep, I know you're doing it.
All I have to say is if you watch this, Jim Puckey, you are one of the best men I've ever met in my life. Hands down. I will never ever in my life forget you. And because of him. Your hair. Thank you.
No, not yours. Jim Puckey's hair.
Oh yeah.
He always had that nice, awesome, the cool double part down the middle.
Yeah.
He was always cool as hell.
But yeah, I love that man. He was like a second father to me. Like I love that dude. One of the best men I've ever met. He has made me the boss that I am today. So to all my employees who love me, you can thank that man for it. Don't you judge my management skills.
I don't know your management skills, so I just know your Rocket League skills. But
that's not management, motherfucker. That's
field management skills.
You're friggin' loser. You fucking loser.
My favorite and why I love Mr. Jim Puckey is because our music discussions have always been awesome. No matter when I see him,
he's good.
I always run into him, and he's always like, "Puckey, you still playing, man?" And I can actually tell you, I am still. So I play every day. I played earlier.
Great guitarist. Yep, he's a great guitarist.
He plays great. Yeah.
Yeah, Jim was always a good guy. Like I don't know, man. That guy was always. So, seeing as we're on the topic of Carbonite now, and Jim Puckey. So, as a tier 3, I used to sit not too far from his office.
Weren't you right outside his office?
For a little while I was, and then they moved. They moved me to the other side. So they had Jim over there, and then they had me on the other side. My door. Yep. And so every once in a while, his fucking keyboard would fuck up. And the best thing about Jim Puckey was all of a sudden you'll be there at, whenever you get in your shift, you're signed in, you're getting ready to call a customer or something. And all of a sudden you hear, "Motherfucking pig fucker." And you would hear his keyboard slam. How come these fucking things don't work? Like, no joke, dude. And you're like, you're about ready to hit call, and then you're like, I'll give this about 5 minutes.
You're like, I'm a little simmer down.
Yeah, sorry I called you late. My boss was slamming his keyboard, calling it a pig fucker. So
right, we had technical difficulties. I'm actually having technical difficulties.
I see that. Are you dying?
I lost a lighter. No. So I have one of the. So you know what the grill lighters look like? It's a long. So have you seen the little?
Yep, little mini version of them.
Yeah, so the lighter itself looks like this, but it's got the little bitty thing off from it, and you just click it. So I had one of those, and I love those because they're long and I like bowls. And Castro was telling us a story earlier about him buying his stationary bike. And so we're listening. I'm like, yeah, okay. And I'm trying to light the bowl, and I kept clicking it, and then it stopped clicking. It just went soft, like a soft push. There was no click anymore. I'm like, what the? In the middle of his story, I'm looking at it, I'm shaking it, and Rhymes is already laughing his head off silently because you hear the every now and then, and I go, wham, and I throw it on the ground. No joke. Leaned over, I picked it up, I turned it on, and I lit my bowl. And then I put it down. I was just breaking stuff, man. Just absolutely breaking stuff. But I had to move it away from me. It couldn't be near me anymore because I like it, and I was going to try it again. But I was trying to show how I broke it, and I realized that the wires that go up to the end to light it were broken on the thumb button now. So when you push it down, it clicks and shocks the end of your thumb. So now it turned into a joke lighter. So now it's the joke light. You're like, ow! Oh god.
So
Crazy.
We were talking.
Oh, my car.
Your car.
How do we get pulled away from my car?
I don't remember.
Remember I asked you what car you would own?
Yeah.
We got talking about 350s.
Yeah.
I have two cars, and they are the most drastically different cars you'll ever imagine.
Okay.
1967 Lincoln Continental. The boats that are like 20 feet long.
Yeah.
From the factory, suicide back doors. You know what that is?
The ones that go out, right?
Yeah, so the rear door, so if you're looking at the car, this is the front of the car.
Right, it goes this way and this way.
Yeah, they open up this way.
Yeah.
So, and it's a big boat car. What I'm going to do is I'm put it on some big wheels, a big soft air suspension, and that's going to be just my cruise around summer car. Yeah. And then the flip side of that is an Audi R8.
That's your winter car?
No. Just the other car, the drastically off. I'm gonna have to have like an SUV or something in the winter. But no, the opposite side of drastic, because one of them is a big ass boat that gets like 6 miles to the gallon, but is so comfortable.
And the other one's this big.
It's kind of small, but it's like Audi's answer for a Ferrari, because it's a mid-engine rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. It's so the engine's behind you.
Yep.
Do you remember a show called Dirt on FX? With,
I remember the show.
Courtney Cox.
Yeah, I remember the show, but I never really watched it.
Yeah, the car she drove was when Audi R8s first came out, and it is a real sporty car, and that's my car right now. And what's funny, the gentleman who I've purchased probably 5 or 6 cars from, because I used to pick up the cheap beater ones that he'd get.
Yep.
And I was driving by his lot the other day in Turner, and this is actually last summer, so it wasn't the other day, but I'm driving and I happen to do this, and I see in between his two buildings, so he has a garage in the house building, I see the ass end of an Audi R8, and I was like, you motherfucker. And then and I think he may live or he knows somebody up here, because it was also parked up here, but it's okay because it is the convertible, and I am not a convertible guy. I hate convertible cars. I hate convertible sports cars. Yeah. If somebody came up to me and there was like, they're selling like a cheap 350Z and it was a convertible, it would take me a long time to say yes, because that's how much I don't like convertibles.
Yeah, no, I used to drive around, not me, one of my buddies had a Z24.
What year-ish?
I don't know. It was like 90s, like early 90s.
Oh, so it was like it was the Arrow.
Yeah, pretty much.
It wasn't the big the muscles.
No.
No, you're not talking like 81.
It wasn't a Camaro. It was a Z24. That's a Chevrolet.
The Cavalier.
The Cavalier, yes.
Oh, that's a Cavalier. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
What, the 90s?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was a convertible. It was no, hold on, I'm not done. It was fucking like that blaze snow white. It was awful, dude. I hated that thing. And you couldn't get in the back seat. It was a convertible. He loved it. He loved that thing. His little 4-cylinder sport car. God, it was terrible. Terrible. But
I remember my buddy got a good car. Hard to work on. But 85 Monte. 85 Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
And not the SS. So if you've seen Training Day, obviously without the cool exhaust and the hydraulics and shit, you in the office, baby,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that car. And I'll tell you what, man, we didn't smoke. It was funny. All through school, I was such a good kid. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I didn't have sex. I was such a good kid. I was so focused on music in every aspect of music. I played it. I wanted it to sound good in my car. I remember girlfriends of my roommates that were very, 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 very attractive, wearing very, very, very little amounts of clothes while I'm working on my vehicle, and their boyfriends, aka my friends, are not there. And they came over to hang out with me. Normal dude, focus on girl, get laid, have fun. Me, upside down, under dash, feet in the air over my driver's seat in my truck, working on the wires under my dash, asking her to hand me a tool. So I was being a tool, asking for tool. You know what I mean?
No, you were being modest. Is what they're
yeah, I
called.
was exactly. Yeah, I wasn't.
You
being
weren't. You were the fucking nerd, dude. That's just the way it is. I was a stoner. Wow. Yeah.
It paid off this year, but anyway, yeah. Carry on.
I was the stoner back when. That's cool. I'm just saying I was the stoner. I was the stoner.
What year did you start smoking?
Freshman years when I used to smoke. Yeah.
You were smoking that fucking garbage too, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. Back in the day.
Yeah. The garbage weed from up here. Do you remember the jump to hydro?
Yes,
do you remember
I
when
do.
hydroponics came out?
Sure
was
do.
short-lived here. They went from hydroponics to indoor grow real fast.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, once the indoor came out, the hydroponic wasn't even. I mean, granted, they're still doing hydro now, but it wasn't the same.
That was when you had the extra money to buy the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it tasted like
stank.
Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually just explained the process of making diamonds earlier. Did I show you the Dab Maniac video? He takes a half ounce of THC diamonds in one dab.
No, I didn't.
Okay, we'll watch that afterward. I don't know if we're allowed to link our favorite videos at the end of this, but if you want to see somebody who can handle dabs better than anybody that I've ever known or will ever know, this man, it should kill this man. But anyway, we were talking about the process because there's so many different ways to smoke it now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, dude. I see people do some of the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
But anyways, so we were talking before the video about guilty pleasures. I guess smoking weed kind of goes into that, right? Guilty pleasures.
Yes. And in no way do we condone smoking weed as a lifestyle.
No, I don't.
I have this talk. Let me give this quick disclaimer. This is gonna be a weird disclaimer coming from me real quick because I am a lifelong pot smoker. I started in my 20s, but everything is in moderation. I had a conversation with my child about this, and there's a saying from The Italian Job, and they're talking about stealing, and it's Donald Sutherland at the beginning of the movie, and he's talking to Mark Wahlberg, and he says there's two types of people in this world. There's people that steal to enrich their lives, and there's people who steal to define their lives. And he says, don't become the latter. And that's the phrase. So take out the phrase steal and put it in anything else in your life, unless it's a positive passion. Music. Let music define you. But if it's something that people that you know is a bad thing, I know smoking weed is a bad thing, but you know what I do? It doesn't affect my job, any of my relationships, if it starts to affect anything in my life, I then lay off from it. It should never negatively affect your life. So if it does, stop. That's what I tell them. But anyway, we're talking about guilty pleasures.
Guilty pleasures in movies from the 80s and 90s. So
yes, because I think that genre granted, every decade has its own, but we're in the time frame now where I think a lot of those were portrayed to go to.
Yep. Yeah. So, my guilty pleasure. My probably number one movie from the 80s. It was late 80s. Robocop.
You are under arrest. You're fired. Thank you.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Dead or alive. We need boost.
So, everybody hated it. I shouldn't say hated it, but people disliked it. They didn't think it was good as the original Robocop. One of my favorite movies of all time, early 90s, was Robocop 2. And one of my just because, I don't know, I'm not huge into like knowing someone's like that build up to the you know what I'm saying, that build up
the past story.
Yeah. Well, I am like I like to know how they became what they became, but you know how like I just,
you want to know the lore, but you don't need to know the full backstory.
Right. So Robocop 2, he was already Robocop. He's been Robocop, so he's already a badass.
You know how he got there.
Right. Yeah. Right. So and I like the story. I did enjoy the story, but one of my favorite scenes is at the end of the movie, the chick is, you know, like, oh, you know, I didn't mean for this to happen, and the rich guy is taking her away or whatever, and Lois is like, and there she is, one of the corporate people getting away again, and Robocop takes a freaking a ratchet wrench and he goes, you know, Lois, we're only humans. And then he freaking screws on his helmet. And I don't know what it is about that scene, but it just cracks me up every time you see it, because that deadpan, you know, Lois, we're only humans. And it just cuts. And I'm just like, I don't know why.
That scene gets you every time.
Yeah, it's just that's the line that killed it all for me. You know,
nice.
I also really in Robocop 2, I love Robocop 2, I'm sorry, but the scene where it's right after Robocop gets reprogrammed to be like nice and kind, and the baseball coach is using the kids to steal TVs and shit, and Robocop gets out of the car and he's like, halt, stop, and the dude's shooting at him and he just keeps walking forward trying to get him to stop, and Lois is behind him, shoot him, Murphy, shoot him. And then she shoots him in the head, kills him, and he starts reading him his Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can. And Murphy, you're reading Miranda to a corpse. I think I'm having trouble.
Dude, they did such a good job on that, man.
I love that. So absolutely.
They redid it.
Did they?
You must have been mad, y'all.
Oh, you mean the new one, the new movie?
Yeah,
the newer one. Yeah. I mean, it was entertaining for what the movie was. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it.
You know why I hated it? They changed RoboCop.
I mean, they did kind of.
That entire movie, the new one, was all about his emotions, the emotional connection. Completely.
So
there was very little of that in the first one. There was more about him getting back the crime. He had those memories about like his death and shit. But to me, the new one was so much about his connection and being human and being AI. You know what I mean? I think they went into that too far.
Well, I mean, they did do that in the original movies. Like they went into.
I rewatched it though. They just didn't go into it that much. They mentioned it.
I mean, it wasn't the whole thing, because in the old movies he used to go and he used to pull up to his wife's house and, you know, go away, and she was freaking out about it, and, you know, they went into like, they're like, you need to stop doing this to her, you know, Alex Murphy's dead. Like they went into his humanity. It's just
okay. Yeah, I think it just focused on it for me just a little too much. But
no,
you know.
I understand where you're going with it. Like I understand what you're talking about, because, you know, in the new RoboCop, he was able to get back with his family and everything. Like, I thought that was stupid. Like, yes. I like how they did it in the old movies, because it was like he didn't go back to his wife, he didn't go back to his kid.
Right.
He couldn't, because he was a robot, and that's what he was fighting with. See, that there's a difference between the way that they did it in the new one, where it's like he fights with his emotions and then he's able to save his wife and kid and they're all back together and everything. The old movies, it wasn't like that. It was literally a robot fighting with the fact that he is a robot and he can't see his family again. That is why
you can't change
the
plot of a movie and call it the same movie.
Yeah, they definitely they should have kept the same plot of the movie.
Or Robocop reboot.
I mean,
Give it something different. Don't give it the same name. You can't. That's what I'm just saying.
I mean, it was Robocop the reboot. It was the reboot of the original.
Was it called the reboot?
They called it a reboot.
I meant like in the title.
And you know what? I think if they wanted to go that route, I think they should have stuck with the Alex Murphy story and went with a different Robocop.
Yeah. Or come out with a completely different one that actually struggles and he's able to get there.
Right.
Because you could link that to the Murphy story easy. You know? It's not a problem at all.
Well, the new one was literally a reboot of the original movie.
But they changed the ending.
Yeah, they changed the ending.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You change the ending. It's like any you could pick. It doesn't matter any movie, and just change the movie and say, oh yeah, we remade it. No, you didn't. You made a different movie. And it's not the same plot. That's why I like I Am Legend. It included two endings. Have you seen both endings?
Yeah, there's the one where he blows himself up, and then there's one where they get away.
Yeah, and he gets out. Yeah, it's crazy.
I did, and I actually, and speaking of which, that's another one I certainly enjoy. I Am Legend. Mm-hmm. I've seen that a million times. You know, it's not a 90s guilty pleasure, but the remake of Dawn of the Dead that everybody absolutely hated, I loved Dawn of the Dead. We're gonna notch down on the Friends scale like one little click because it's not a negative. It's just I haven't seen those. They never appealed. The trailer never caught me at the time I saw the trailer. So if that makes any sense, there's a lot of movies that I'm gonna be going back to watch, but there was a whole segment of time that I wouldn't watch any horrors, for example. Yeah.
So if there were any really good horror movies that came out, my mind was like, nah, and they just got pushed off. No matter if they were the most stellar movies that were out there.
I never look at zombie movies as horror movies.
No. That was just an example. Like, so when that movie came out, my mind may have been, oh, zombies. I'm not into zombies. Everybody's into zombies. I'm not, because I have that infliction, whatever that is. Whatever it is that causes me to dislike things, the more it's the exact opposite magnet. If one person tells me about something, I'll be like, oh, I'll check that out. And then if another person tells me, and then another person, then I join a conversation and they're all talking about it, I am so turned off to whatever you're talking about.
Yeah,
Squid Game?
Yeah.
Still, I don't even have interest in it, but everybody is talking about this is awesome, this is awesome, this is awesome, this is awesome. Game of Thrones, I started Game of Thrones like 4 years after it came out because I was like, shut the fuck up about it. I
still haven't watched it.
You should.
I don't like it. I watched the first season, didn't like it. I honestly did not like it.
Trying to figure out. There's one meme that describes why I like it, and it's I'm probably gonna get the name. I'm not even gonna say it because I'm not good with authors, but the Harry Potter author is on top of the meme. Not sex. Picture.
Oh, okay.
It's on top of the picture, and it says, "I hate killing main characters," and then the bottom one is the author of Game of Thrones. And all it says is, you're adorable. That's what I love. So this is funny. So let me give you my let's say 2-minute synopsis of why I think people should watch Game of Thrones. And I don't even care if you watch it or not. But it's because it's an interesting reason. It's not because I think it's one of the best things ever written. Because I think Sons of Anarchy is written better than Game of Thrones. I personally like Sons of Anarchy better than Game of Thrones.
I watched 3 seasons of Sons of Anarchy and could not watch anymore.
Wow, you have a very interesting taste of shows. Because I want to know why you don't like them. But check this out. So Game of Thrones, one, that's a reason why there is not a person that is anywhere in this that's safe. Let me just tell you, and this isn't ruining anything, if you at least half of the characters that you like are going to die by the end. Because the author doesn't give a fuck. He will kill everybody. He will kill, rape, and pillage anybody. Nobody's sacred, and I love that.
Literally.
Yes. And I love the fact that nobody's safe. And people don't like the end, and I'm not going to spoil it because there is an easy way to spoil it, but people don't like the end. And I can say without spoiling anything that the reason I like the end is because people don't like the end. It's not. No. Okay, that sounds like it's. It's not connected to them liking it, but the reason that they don't like it is the reason that I like it. Okay, it's not above the subject. It's still the subject. They hate this part of the show.
They hate it for this reason. You like it for this reason.
That exact reason. It has nothing to do with it. Oh, you hate it, so I'm going to like it. It's not that. It's literally my brain thought the exact opposite at the very end. And I have argued hours and hours with people about it. And it's not an argument. It's a debate because it's opinions. It's, I like this because to me, that's how you end a show, you know? But they have probably one of the biggest hoorah moments in the last season. Like,
hoorah.
Oh man, there are reaction videos to this specific event. People that have seen it know the event I'm talking about, but there is a moment that lasts probably about 6 seconds. The build up to it's about 3 minutes long. It happens, they catch your breath. This is the emotions you feel. I don't have to tell you what you're seeing. You get this build up and you're like, now start to feel despair. Everything's going wrong and you're like, what the fuck? All of a sudden the hope comes, bro. You know that feeling, here it comes. And all of a sudden, boom, hope shattered into a million pieces. And you're like, nobody's breathing, everybody's heart is completely stopped. And then a light out of nowhere. And that's what you get. But that's how I look at shows, regardless of what it is, because you can take that exact event, those feelings, not what you're seeing, but those feelings, and bring it to different shows and different events and shows. And that's how I look at cinema. And I think that's why I like the end, because what it does to you, that whole show makes you're pissed off at Game of Thrones the whole time you watch it. You are literally just pissed off.
I see why.
You're so mad. You're just mad at it the whole time. Why did that happen? Why aren't they doing this? It's ridiculous.
They definitely can't do it again. Oh, they did it again. And you keep
like, that person is definitely dead now. They are definitely dead. 3 episodes later, you're like, why is their contract still valid? Crazy, man.
So your 80s and 90s guilty pleasure?
Shawshank,
huh?
early 90s. Yeah, Shawshank is it reminded me because I just watched it and I don't know what it is, and there's nothing else I can learn from Shawshank, I don't think. That's why I watch things. So I watch them and almost block out what I learned the first time, and I start paying attention to other things or other words. And that's why I have such a vocabulary of quotes from movies. Like, you've seen the first Fast and Furious?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Do
you ever remember anybody saying, I like his haircut? Oh, I like his haircut.
I remember it, but I don't remember who says it.
So Leon says it in the gas station before the first fight, before Paul Walker and Vinny.
Gotcha.
So as they're walking out, they're already in the store. They're eating snacks.
Yes, yes, I know the scene. Yes, yeah.
And Jesse goes, "Oh, I love this part." No, he goes, yeah, Leon says them both. Leon goes, "Oh, I love this part," and he starts eating. It cuts away, and then it comes back right before the fight, and he goes, "I like his haircut." Oh, he goes, "Cute." That's what Jesse says. He puts on glasses and he goes, "He's cute." And he goes, "I like his haircut." Yeah. Just so watching it over again, I'd already heard all the fucking tuna, all the tuna no crust, all that shit. You can get yourself a burger and fries for $2.95. All that stuff. So yeah, that's why I rewatch them, and I watch for other reasons and learn. But I think Shawshank is one of those that I've seen it from so many angles. I've paid attention to so many storylines, and I carry a lot of life lessons from Shawshank. I think Stephen King did a very good job writing it, and because the book, I enjoy the book as well. I'm not a reader. I don't read books for fun most of the time, but that is something I've watched many times. For comedy wise, Tommy Boy.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, because I got so much humor from Chris Farley throughout that. We'll have to do, I don't know because I'm a stoner. People, this is one thing you get when you get a stoner. It's a short-term memory loss. I can't remember now if we've done an episode that involved much of humor or the study of actual humor, like
Kind
why
of.
I enjoy humor. I know we talked about what we find funny and stuff like that, but I truly consider myself a student of humor, because it's well beyond that. And Chris Farley has a lot of approach and delivery.
Yeah, his just his punchlines are amazing, dude.
Yeah, the passion he delivered everything with. Van Down by the River skit from SNL. Have you seen Van Down by the River?
Yes, I have. Yep.
It's like his most overacted scene on SNL. He breaks a coffee table unintentionally.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. Yeah.
I have to say, like, I know people talk about, like, they're like, ah, man, I really miss this guy, or you know, people are like, oh, I was so sad when this happened. Chris Farley literally was that for me. I always felt that connection with Chris Farley, and when he died, I was just sunken. And I was young when Chris Farley died, but oh my god, I loved him so much. Everything he did was funny to me, besides the White Ninja or whatever the fuck it was called.
Beverly Hills Ninja?
Yeah, I hated that movie.
Yeah, overacted very much.
Yeah, very, very. Plus all the drugs he was on. But, man, I loved Chris Farley so much. He was one of my favorite comedians.
The emotional connection to that, without diving too much into bringing a person's personal life into light that may not want to do, I've not asked permission to, but there was a moment in my life where Paul Walker's death, if people know me, they can think back, they can Google and find out when it happened, and they'll know what happened in my life. But there was a choice that had to be made, and it wasn't. The unfortunate part of it was it was a negative for the person, like towards the person. It was a big negative for them. In the end, I knew it was going to be better for everybody, but I was having a hard time making that choice. And then knowing that Paul Walker left his charity event just to go for a ride in his buddy's car. And of course he was showing off, it's a fast car. It was a really quick car, and ending up putting it into a tree. That person was, Paul Walker's doing something special for other people, selfless, He was a good guy.
Paul Walker was a good guy.
Yeah, and so, special side note, in the movie, when they're on the phone, him and Mia are on the phone, at which he passed away during, the emotion that she has when she is talking to him is real. I watched the behind the scenes, and they played his part through the phone to her, and he had already passed away. Crazy, man. Like, I love, man, if you guys get chances in your favorite stuff, man, dive into the behind the scenes. There's so much fun. Half the cast didn't even have their license when they started the movie. You know that, right?
Yeah, I'm not surprised by it.
Furious Fun, the first one, man.
So on that topic, I just have to bring it up then, because another one that I wouldn't say hit me as hard as Chris Farley, but still affected me in a way, and it was just because I've watched his stand-up my entire life. I've watched all of his movies and always loved him, was Robin Williams, dude.
Yeah.
That one really hit. And it wasn't even, it was how he died. It really was how he died. It really hit me because I'm not going to go into it, but I know a lot of people that have committed suicide that were friends of mine, and it just, his death was like, man, that guy always seemed like he was happy. He was legit just a genuine good dude.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that he would.
There isn't a movie of that guy's that I don't enjoy. Not a single one.
And then, and all the things that he did with Kids for Cancer and stuff like that. Like, he would literally go to kids, not houses, but in the hospitals, and stuff like that. Like, Robin Williams was the dude that you would go to when you needed a laugh, and he would make you feel better. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that poor dude was going through so much pain. Like, legit, he was in physical pain, and that's the reason why he took his life. And it's just like, But that one always resonated with me when Robin Williams took his life. That was like, oh man,
he's probably one of the most unique individuals that has ever walked this planet.
For sure, dude. I always loved him. I loved Chris Farley too. And then, like you said, Paul Walker. Like, he didn't hit me hard like it hit a lot of Fast and Furious fans, but you know, I was like, oh man, that'd be like, you know, if he ever dies, God, now I'm jinxing myself. I shouldn't even say it, but if Keanu Reeves dies, I'm done with this world.
Really rough. Yeah, no, he's got plenty of time on here still.
Dude, have you seen the pictures? He's a vampire, for sure.
Oh God,
he's a vampire. He's immortal. Nothing can happen to Keanu.
Actually, the Matrix is real. That was just his reveal, but still nobody believes him.
Yeah, everybody just enjoyed it as a movie.
Yeah, they're like, that's a great movie. He's like, fuck idiots, man. I showed him and they still don't even believe me. all the simulation theory people are like, we told you, and they're getting locked up in crazy houses. And Keanu Reeves is just sitting there like,
I told you that. I was trying to help you.
Yeah,
I was trying to help.
Like, Side note, on to guns real quick.
Guns, yep. I know that.
Have you ever shot a P30?
I have not.
Have you ever shot a pistol with a compensator on it?
Not with a compensator, no.
Because this is the gun that I would like to try to shoot. And it's not because it's a John Wick gun. I'm not a Hollywood guy. I looked at the gun and I like the design of the P30L, the gun itself, but I also am interested to see the feeling of a pistol with a compensator on it.
Yeah, I've never shot a pistol with a compensator.
That's what like one of his main ones. I don't know if it's which movie it is, but when you type in John Wick pistol, it's one of the main ones you see a lot. It's a P30L with an extended mag. It's got like an extra inch on the bottom of it.
Yes.
And then he's got the compressor. I mean the compensator on it.
Yeah, I've never shot. I mean, I've shot some with that design to it, but I've never shot.
You mean like a comp, like a long barrel?
Yeah, like a longer barrel. I mean,
just a long barrel, not a specifically designed comp on a.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you know.
Gotcha.
But
crazy video. Let me try to think what mag it was. He's shooting a Glock, and the guy next to him has. I honestly don't remember what it was. So he's shooting and the guy's having fun. Like they're standing side by side, very safe video. And he's shooting down range and there's all these metal targets and the way they have them, so you can't see them, but you can just see the fun he's having. And you can hear him going bang, 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 bang. And he's just bang, bang, bang. And he runs out. So then he drops his clip and he tries to grab a clip. He doesn't have any. So he reaches over and he grabs the guy's clip that's on his belt and he pulls it out. And he's like, that's a such and such mag. It's not gonna work. And he takes it and he puts it in and he just holds it. And he goes, bow, 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 bow. And he shoots like 3 shots and he takes it out and puts it back in his holster. And he's like, cut. What was that? It was just a funny video to see. And I know enough about guns to be gun aware and have gun safety. Always. But I don't know enough about them to understand if that was likely to happen. But it was a fun video to watch because it was also about 1.5 inches too long for what is the part called that you slide it into? Whatever it is.
The grip? The hand grip?
Where the hand grip is, yeah, but you could tell where it was too long for it because he had to hold it like this at the bottom of his gun while he fired off like 3 or 4 rounds in succession and then just slid it back out because it didn't lock in place and hand it back to him.
Dude, yeah. I mean, I'm a gun enthusiast, but I wouldn't say I'm a gun nut. I mean, I'm probably a novice. There's still much I can learn about guns.
But you at least know more than the average citizen.
I would probably say so, yes. Seeing as an average citizen is a far lefty nowadays.
True. I mean, I take baseline as just knowing something exists is a baseline.
I would say I know a little bit more than the average person. Yes.
Smarter than the average bear.
Yeah, I mean,
thinking about skip boo boo.
I enjoy shooting them, and I enjoy having them, but I'm not like. Yeah, good. Hey, look at my dick as I swing it. Yeah. Yeah.
Stop.
I'm not from the South, okay? I'm from the North.
Shots fired, literally.
But yeah, no, I mean, I probably know more than the average person, but that's about it.
Nice. There you go.
We're getting about an hour and a half. You wanna?
I think that's a good call. I think we're gonna call it out right there.
Yeah. So thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed this. If you would, hit the like button. If you could and you'd like to see more videos, hit the subscribe. Share the video. And yeah, that's about it. You got anything else you want to finish with?
No.
All right. Well, as we all say, I hope you all have a wonderful night. And that's going to be positivity
over negativity.
Yeah, have a good one.
Have a good night.